Marvel's Eternals are almost here, and we just can't stop speculating about what exactly the mysterious new movie is going to entail. While we have some details about what is probably going to be a seriously epic movie, as usual, there are a ton of awesome fan theories floating around on the internet that are only upping the anticipation. Check out the rest of this video for a roundup of our favorite Eternals fan theories.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't know already, the Eternals cast is stacked. Some of the most impressive and unexpected celebs are stepping into the Marvel Universe for this one, including Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, Brian Tyree Henry, Kit Harington, Richard Madden, and a newly super Jack Kumail Nanjiani, among others. With a cast like this, we're already planning to line up at the box office long before the movie's out. But a rumored other appearance somehow has us even more excited. Some think that one of the most important Celestials who we have actually seen before might be stopping by in Eternals, and it is none other than Ego the Living Planet. We first saw Ego, as played by Kurt Russell, in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. If you're about to argue that Ego was taken out by Peter Quill in order to save the universe, you might not realize that Eternals is going to take place over 7,000 years. So, it's totally possible that he could factor in at some point. Look, 7,000 years is a very, very long time. Anything can happen in that span. And since Marvel has been keeping the specifics of the story close to their chest, we can't be certain of exactly how things are going to go down. There have been a couple of leaks that hint at some of the bigger plot points, like the fact that Babylon in 800 BC is going to be one of the settings, and that Kit Harington is probably playing archaeologist Dane Whitman in the present day. Some fans out there think that they have a handle on one of the most important details, and if it turns out to be true, this could be super exciting. Those theorists believe that Eternals might show us the creation of the first mutants and the origin of the X gene. They think so because for the first time ever, Marvel has acquired the rights to the X-Men characters, and Marvel boss Kevin Feige has been throwing the term mutants around a lot these days. Whether or not the X-Men characters that we know well will make an appearance remains to be seen, but based on the history of Celestials messing around with human DNA, we could be seeing some mutations arise in the near future. Fans of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies have been itching to see some further exploration of Nowhere ever since it made its first appearance in the first Guardians movie in 2014. For those who might not be familiar with it, Nowhere contains a civilization located entirely in the severed head of a Celestial, which is just about the coolest thing ever, and something we would love to see given more attention in the upcoming movies. Well, we might be in luck, because some fans out there are toying with the idea that Eternals might finally give us some of that sweet, sweet backstory that we have been hoping for years now. Since we know that these Celestials will feature heavily in Eternals, there is a very real possibility that we might get a glimpse of just how Nowhere was created and how civilization developed there. The mysteries surrounding it have long been a big gap in the MCU timeline and lore, so this seems like the perfect time to fill it in for the diehard fans and newcomers alike. As most good fan theories do, this next one started on Reddit and has picked up a ton of steam since it was posted. The gist of it is that the Asgardians are a branch of the Eternals, also created by those gene-messing with Celestials who created them. The MCU has been laying the foundation for years that all myths and legends of gods and whatnot actually begin with aliens and superhumans. And with all of the backstory of the Celestials and Eternals, it's pretty likely that they'll keep that idea going into the next phase. The theory ties into the rumors that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was supposed to introduce the Eternals, which this new movie would spin off from, but that all got changed during the James Gunn controversy. If so, it makes sense that Thor, newly hanging with the Guardians crew, could tie into this story as well through his people. Ever since Asgard, he's under the impression that a ton of people are gone, but it could be that he discovers that the Asgardians are one tribe of many stemming from the Eternals, giving him a new kind of hope. While some think that we may have seen the last of Thanos, there are others out there who don't believe that to be the case. In fact, one theory creating buzz thinks that Thanos might actually factor in a big way to the Eternals plot. The idea is that we might actually get a real origin story for the MCU's biggest bad guy so far. In the comic book Thanos Wins, it's established that Thanos was born on one of the moons of Saturn like the rest of the Eternals, but was always a little different. A mutant. He was so different, in fact, that in Thanos Wins, his mother actually went mad upon seeing him, which really explains a few of his behavioral issues. According to the creator of this theory, in the comic, Thanos' mother happens to look a lot like Angelina Jolie. Some have pointed out that his mother in the book is Sui San, and Jolie is confirmed to be playing Thena. But hey, it wouldn't be the first time that the MCU messed with the source material in order to up the drama. Who knows? Maybe by next fall, we'll all be obsessing over baby Thanos, leaving our beloved Baby Yoda in the dust. In the same vein of Marvel making small changes to the comic book lore in order to connect their characters and movies together in a comprehensible way, this next fan theory isn't a question of who will be in the Eternals movie, but rather what. There have always been certain weapons in the Marvel canon that have had a different level of importance placed on them, and without a doubt, the Ebony Blade is one of the most infamous. The Ebony Blade, for those who don't know, is an enchanted black sword that endows the Black Knight with his powers. While there have been a few different Black Knights over the years, the first was Sir Percy of Scandia. Sir Percy isn't slated to be in this movie, but we do know that Kit Harington is coming on board to play the third iteration of the character, Dane Whitman. In trying to figure out just how he will factor into the movie, fans everywhere have started wondering if we will actually see the Ebony Blade get created in Eternals. Since Phastos created most of the Eternals technology and weapons and will appear in the movie, it could be the perfect way to tie the Black Knight into the overall story. There's so much mystery surrounding the Eternals for those of us who haven't read the comics, so it's hard to know exactly what or who they even are. Well, while it seems as though we have never encountered these beings before, some fans think that we have actually seen the Eternals in another Marvel movie, if only for a moment. See, in Guardians of the Galaxy, the group pay a visit to the Collector. During that scene, he gives them a rundown of everything they need to know about the Infinity Stones. He tells them their history, how each of the stones are the concentrated results of 6 singularities that occurred before the universe exploded into existence. He also explains how dangerous they are, and how they can only be held by beings of extraordinary strength, and how a group of 8 were once able to hold the stones for a moment before they disintegrated. The theory wonders why exactly this group tried to hold the stones in the first place. One idea is that they did it willingly, after finding the stones on Earth after the Celestials left. But the other wonders if the Celestials were using the stones in their experiments with DNA and mutations, and that exact moment might have given their subjects their powers, who then passed them down. If so, then that group of people we saw might be the very beginning of the Eternals race. We know for sure that this next phase of Marvel movies is going to start relying on all sorts of new stories and characters, and is decidedly moving away from the original group of Avengers who have grounded the franchise so far. But that doesn't mean that the effects they had on the universe are going to disappear. That just wouldn't be possible. And some fans out there have a theory about just how much of an impact one of the Avengers might have made on the Eternals. Some people out there believe that Hulk's snap while wearing the gauntlet from Avengers Endgame might have actually launched the events of the Eternals movie. To understand this theory, we need to go back to the comics for a moment. In 2006, Marvel relaunched the Eternals franchise from the 1970s, this time with legendary writer Neil Gaiman brought in to fix things up. In his storyline, a forever young Eternal named Sprite lashed out at the rest of his Eternals family and used his powers to warp their memories. There is some belief out there that this storyline could be a big part of the Eternals plot. Oh, also, we know that the snap doesn't actually eliminate the matter it destroys. It just transports it elsewhere and changes its form. This theory wonders if, with the Eternals living on Earth during the snap with their memory erased, were brought back by the Hulk snap, then this chain of events might be what reawaken their identities and serve as a jumping off point for the Eternals movie. We've said it before and we'll say it again. The Eternals have been around for a very, very, very long time. So long, in fact, that some fans think that there's a possibility that they are responsible for one of the most powerful ancient civilizations to ever exist, ancient China. When Marvel released an Eternals poster celebrating the Lunar New Year, some people got the idea that they may be hinting towards a storyline from the movie. It showed 4 of the Eternals: Thena, Icarus, Ajax, and Phastos apparently flying over China next to a red sun. While it might just be a pretty poster, some sly fans have been quick to point out that it really seems as though they are hinting at a connection between the Eternals and China. But how? Well, the Eternals have a long history with the ancient civilization of Babylon, and over the last century, there have been a lot of real-world debate over the founding of ancient China, with suggestions that people from Babylon were actually those who settled in China so long ago. Some believe that this poster is doubling down on that idea, and that, in the case of the MCU, the Eternals had a hand in settling the land as well. We won't know until we see the movie, but that could mean some very cool things for the future of the MCU as well. The final theory about Marvel's Eternals has got to be our favorite. Having originated on Reddit and quickly gaining speed, it seems we're not alone in this either. Some fans believe that not only will there be some mutants or some other classic Marvel characters popping up in Eternals, but that there also might be vampires. And ever since the announcement that Marvel will be rebooting a very beloved half-vampire, half-human named Blade, played by Mahershala Ali, some think that we might even get our first glimpse of the vampire hunter in Eternals as well. They justify this theory in a couple of ways, the first being that even though Kevin Feige has said that the Blade movie won't be coming out until 2022, it's not the first time he's said that. Back in 2014, it was revealed that Chadwick Boseman had been cast as Black Panther, and while his own movie didn't come out until years later, he appeared in Captain America: Civil War in the meantime. So, even if Blade isn't coming out until 2022, that doesn't mean we can't meet Blade before that. Another reasoning is that both the Eternals and their enemy, the Deviants, live forever. Who else lives forever? Huh? Vampires. It's totally possible that the first vampire could have been an Eternal, or a Deviant, or both. While that one might be a little bit on the far-fetched side of things, in the Marvel Universe, anything can happen. And if we're about to enter an era in which superheroes fight vampires in space over an expanse of thousands of years, all while finding the time to found ancient China, yeah, sign us up. With all of these theories floating around our brains, we can't wait to see what actually happens in Eternals. What do you think will happen? Do you think any of these theories could come true? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to ScreenRant to keep up to date with all of our latest videos.